Rich, Tennessee, Homestead, how the heck are you? Hey, this is going to be a quick little video on what to do during a winter storm blackout where you've lost power. Ice storms, things of this nature. First thing you want to do is call, if you've still got cell phone service, is give friends and family a call, let them know what's going on. Got a blackout out at your place. A lot of times that can bring you some extra help. So somebody's going to come by and check on you. Kind of thing, especially if you're elderly. Okay, so make sure you do that. Utilize your cell phone. Try to stay off of it after that because you're going to try to save that battery for an emergency. You want to start off with getting all your electronics unplugged. Your computers, your radios, cell phones, anything electronics, laptops, iPads, whatever. Get that stuff unplugged. Microwaves, refrigerators, stoves, it really gets to be kind of long and drawn out. If you've got a decent electrical panel downstairs or in the house that has breakers on it, you can get by with just going into the breaker panel, turning off all your breakers. You should have a 200 amp double pole breaker up at the top of it that cuts all the power to the service. But then you also have your individual breakers. Turn off all the breakers because as you start to restore service, you're going to want to do it one at a time so that you don't throw a load through and burn up an appliance. If you don't have that, then you've got a lot of unplugging to do. If you have electric range, that needs to be disconnected. And even the clock on it, because most of those are electronic. Have them unplugged, microwaves, anything with electronics in it. Your air conditioning system should have a disconnect on it. Make sure you go outside and turn that disconnect off. Air conditioners are very susceptible to power surge. And the last thing you want to do is have to go out and buy a new air conditioning unit because of a power surge. Same thing on your furnace. There should be a switch on it. If not, then it's going to probably limit you to, if you're not really good with electric, go find the fuse or the breaker that controls. That's why I said breaker panel is the easiest way to do it. So getting the power off to all electronics in your house. Because you don't know when that power is coming back on. And 9 times out of 10, if they've been doing a lot of repair work, you're going to see some power surge. Make sure you're protected because it will. It'll take out refrigerators, freezers, anything that has electronics in it, it's going to hurt. So get the power turned off to all your electronics. If you have a small portable generator or a solar generator, that can usually take and handle like your freezer and your refrigerator. Come in really handy to keep you from losing food. If not, keep it closed as much as you can. Keep the kids out of the refrigerator. Do not open the freezer unless you know exactly what you're going in there for and get a hold of it. Because a freezer will stay cold for several days. It won't if you keep opening that lid. Okay, so leave that closed. You don't want to lose all your food. But a small portable generator, man, you can pick some of them up for a few $100. Kind of worthwhile. It'll keep that stuff working for you. Keep your home insulated for the winter. Have pipe insulation on your piping. Have your windows sealed up good. If there are older wood windows and stuff, you might want to make sure you got plastic on them to kind of hold down the drafts. Weather strip and door strips, things of this nature. Anything you can do to seal that house up because wind is a killer. If it can blow through your house, it'll knock the temperature down on your house real quick. If you don't have good attic insulation and so forth, start working on it. Okay, because you don't know how long it's going to be out. Case in point. And when we first went down to the farm in Tennessee, we got hit with a bad ice storm that took down power for close to 30 days. It can happen, especially if you're living in rural areas. Always remember, your rural areas are usually the last ones they work on. Normally because you got a lot of trees around there, things of that nature have probably really done a lot of damage to the lines. So don't assume it's going to be back on in a couple hours. If you have the means, it might be a good time to take a little vacation. Okay. Have an alternative heating source in your house. If you've got a cook, like a small cook stove would work very well. There will keep a house warm, and it will keep you make it available for cooking too if you have like electric range, things of this nature. Now, if you have a gas range, even unplugged, your automatic lighters won't work, but you can light them with a match. But having an alternative source for heat can get you through a lot of bad weather, okay? Keep that in mind. Wood stove, even a small wood stove that you can cook on is great. And you'll probably find out you use it more in the winter than than you might think. My great-grandmother had a wood cook stove. She had a big fancy one with the ovens and the whole shooting match. And that woman wouldn't give it up for a brand new gas range. She really wouldn't. So have an alternative heat source. Kerosene heater would work. Something that doesn't require electricity to operate. There you have it. I have used in the past, and they do generate some heat, is like in the bathroom, put a Coleman white gas lantern in there. Be surprised how much heat that little thing puts out. At least it'll keep you from freezing your butt off when you go into the bathroom. Okay? So, yeah, even that. Plus, it'll keep you from stumbling around in the dark. So have alternative heating available in your home. Your furnace isn't going to work. If you got a fireplace, even we used a fireplace one year, and it was great. It kept the living room warm, and nobody just bedded down in there. So start thinking in advance before you have the outage. Have I got some way to provide heat in this house if it shuts down? A couple of little side items here. If you have a charger for your phones and so forth, when I'm not carrying it in my pocket and away from power, and even in the car, I have a charger for there. Keep your phones fully charged, because you don't know when that's liable to hit you, and you got to have that phone. And if you ran your battery down, checking YouTube or whatever, you can end up between a rock and a hard spot. So you really don't want to do that, because you never know when you're going to have a power outage and not be able to charge that sucker back up. One of the other things I forgot to mention was fireplaces. You can get a heavy grill to put over the grids of a fireplace, build your fire underneath it, put the grid above it, and you can even use a fireplace for cooking. Okay? Yeah. So I wouldn't use my good pots and pans on it, but if you got some cast iron with lids, you're good. You're good to go. Done that. Okay? It's not bad, as a matter of fact. But keep your family fed and also provide you heat. So fireplace, if you've got one, is a good thing to have. Another thing you might want to consider is a solar charger for your phones and some of your laptops or something of this nature. They are out there available. They're not that terribly expensive. And in an emergency, I'm not saying they're worth a hoot if you use them every day, but in an emergency, it may be able to keep you in contact with the people around you. Try to use things like that. Hopefully you got some neighbors and so forth. I know when we had ours down there, I had a welder on the back of my flatbed truck that I set up to also use as a generator. Fire up folks' power to where they could turn on their furnaces and stuff of this nature and get their freezers cooled off and their refrigerators cooled off and so forth. Keep that in mind. A generator for your home is a good idea. It really is. They're expensive, a good one. But anything you can do, even if it's, like I said, a little portable generator, it'll help out. Keep your cell phones and stuff charged. A little solar charger to take care of those kind of items, your iPad and things of this nature. So that'll help you out along the way. Really, the last thing to remember, if you have elderly people in your area, check on them, please. Because a lot of times they just aren't physically able to do some of the things that need to be done at their house to keep them warm. The biggest loss of equipment and things of this nature is usually caused as they start repairing your power. Now, suddenly, poof, you have a light come on. Or you see them repair whatever and they come and tell you you got power. The first thing, if you're talking to one of the repairmen, hey, what else you doing in here? You guys totally done in this area. If they tell you no, might turn on your power to like your furnace and something like that, warm your house up, get your refrigerator going. But be really cautious about all the other electronics in your house. And as soon as your house is warmed up good, turn that other stuff off too, because what's going to happen is 9 times out of 10, the power surges happen when they're working, restoring the power. So just because they hooked you back up, if they're still working on other people in the area, be very cautious. Limit the amount of power you're going to use for like your furnace and things of this nature, unless you're just really looking to replace your furnace and want it to go out, because you're going to get the power surges more times than not right then when they're working on other lines. But don't get crazy with it and then disconnect it again. Throw that breaker and say, okay, I'm done there. All right? Because like I said, I have seen too many times that is where you lose your electronics. And a lot of homeowners insurance doesn't cover power surges. outages. Get familiar with your electric panel. Most homes nowadays have newer breaker panels. They're very safe to operate and so forth if you use a little common sense. In fact, you could probably even call a handyman out before you have a power outage and say, hey, I don't know anything about electricity and so forth. I would like somebody to come out and show me how I could shut down my electrical system using my service panel, and they'd be happy to do that. Okay? So, and it's a good time then to say, and if it's not labeled, I'd like you to go ahead and go through and label everything. That you'll find 9 times out of 10 is not done in most houses. And you're trying to figure out, well, which one turns on the bedroom lights? Biggest thing, be safe. Keep your house winterized for winter. Understand it can happen. We've had a recent, cold wave go through, but we may get more. Be advised, be prepared, pay attention, and you'll do just fine. Okay? Like I said, a little kerosene heater goes a long way, and, make kind of a camping thing out of it. This is Rich, Tennessee Homestead. You guys be safe out there. Pay attention to what's going on, and hopefully you don't have any problems. Okay? But be prepared if you do, and be safe about it. Y'all take care.